Hello, and how are you? I hope you are enjoying your weekend, Friday. Unfortunately, I do not have a bouncy and rhythmic, positive story for this Friday weekend, but rather a saddening story that shows the horror of humanity, especially during the moment when someone cries for help. And that person who cries for help gets abused again. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. A 15-year-old teenager were raped by a group of men in Birmingham. I believe this horrible and savage incident took place. Once she was brutally raped and defiled by these dirty sausages, these animals, these sick savages. She then, what can only be described in a pitiful state, maybe half dressed, dragged her way onto the streets, where she flagged down a passing motorist, only for the motorist to regard this teenager's cry for help to be nothing more than an opportunity where they also raped her again. She was raped at the first incident, that she ran to call for help, and the so-called hero raped her again. Well, what I find alarming about this is that the media used the terminology to describe the perpetrators, the savages, the animals, as Asians. Now, Asians to me means Chinese and Japanese. That's what Asians means. You ask anyone what Asians means, and they will tell you Oriental. Now, I've never in my life come across even one Chinese or Japanese who have raped women in England or even in America. I've not heard about it. It's so rare. So to employ the terminology of Asians is actually degrading and insulting and highly racially charged. But as I began to read the story and began to look at the location, I began to realize the media were protecting the racial and religious identity of these savages. I put it to you that this nasty and vicious crime was done by Muslims. And what the media are now doing, they're covering up Muslims' crimes by calling it Asians or Indians. And Indians don't mean Muslims. Indians mean Hindus or Sikhs. Hindus or Sikhs. Indian. The Muslims would find it an insult if you call them Indian. Muslim means Arab, Muslims. You are Muslim to the Islamic system, the Islamic cult. That's what makes you a Muslim. You submit to Islam. You call them Indians, it's an insult. Then I put it to the media. Why would you call the perpetrators, who you knew were Muslims, call them Asians? It is a very sad abuse, third time around, on the victim, that you are protecting the racial identity and the religious identity of these rapist abusers. Did you remember the Manchester bombing, when these white victims, they were, what's his name? Oh, his name, Morgan. What's it, Morgan? Piers Morgan. They were on his show, and these white victims who lost their family were defending the Muslim terrorist. Oh, we shouldn't really say that Islam is run by terrorists. No, we shouldn't say that. These white victims were defending Islam. White people really have become the bitches of Islam. White people really have met their match. You see, these Muslims, they can rape your women. They can rape you all over Canada, rape you in Germany, in Switzerland, in Sweden. And the government is so petrified of this death cult that they charge you for reporting Muslim rape. You don't believe me? It was in Rotterdam, and was it in up north in England, where Muslims were raping 4-year-old, 5-year-old girls. Muslims were raping little girls, putting them on the streets for profitable gain. The police force, the child protection, the government, the local council, the social workers, they all told the victims, you are racist. They told the victims to keep their mouth shut and continue being prostitutes and being raped by these Muslims. I'm begging you, my intelligent viewer. I know you're intelligent, or you'll be watching this. Look this story up. Muslim grooming gangs, and how the government cover it up, and then call me a liar. I say this live. This is an agreement, an oral agreement, a binding contract. If what I'm saying is untrue, you can sue me and take me to court. That the government, the police, the social workers, child protection, they protected Muslim rapists. Take me to court. Sue me. I'm saying it openly to the world. The white race have met their match. And do you know why? Muslims don't fear death. Muslims love death. They'll eat a crocodile for lunch and an alligator for dinner. You can't punish a Muslim. because Muslims have no souls. They're dead within. How can you punish someone who hasn't got a heart? Someone whose religion is death? The white man never anticipated that when he brought Islam into Europe, into Sweden, into Germany, into the UK, into America, that he was signing his own death sentence. You dare criticize Muslims, and you're the one who will be charged. I dare you. Go and prove me wrong. When the government has an agenda, like they do with the LGBT, they will push it and push it and push it, and there's nothing you can do about it. This poor girl who was raped, she was betrayed by the media and betrayed by the government. Political correctness were their loyalty, was the driving force, and nothing else. To call them Asians, they knew what they were doing. They were protecting Muslims.